Hello, boys and girls. It is time for math. And in math today, we are going to practice reading a word problem and then solving it, but solving it with more than one step. Sometimes there are math problems where you can answer a question, solve the problem, one step, nice and easy. But there are others that are a little bit trickier, a little more complicated, and you need to do a couple steps to get them done. So we are going to try doing a word problem that has multiple steps to it to find the answer. And then you're going to do a worksheet where you're going to do the same thing. You're going to read the word problem and then do the steps out. Okay? So let's read this problem here. It's Dan found 24 shells on the beach. Then he found 14 more. Jane found 15 shells on the beach. Then she found 30 more. Who found more shells? All right, so there's a lot in here, right? So something that can be helpful for you to do is to underline the things that are important. So I want to underline the numbers that I'm going to be looking at, okay? This is not something you have to do. You can just leave it like this, but something that's helpful for me that you can do is underline the things that are important. So, all right, so Dan found 24 shells on the beach. Then he found 14 more, okay? I wanted to underline those. And I'm going to underline them in blue because they have to do with Dan. Now I'm going to do a different color for Jane. I'm going to use brown, all right? So Jane found 15 shells on the beach. Okay, there we go. Then she found 30 more. All right, so I'll underline 30. Okay. Then the question, who found more shells? All right, I'm going to underline that in a different color as well, in purple. Who found more shells? All right, so that is the question that we're trying to answer. Now, we can't answer this question in one step. We can't, because we have to find out how many shells Dan found total and how many shells Jane found total, the total number of shells. All right, so what should we do first, do you think? What should be the first thing we do? Well, let's try and find Dan's number of shells because he's listed first. How am I going to find how many shells he found in all? Addition. Good. Okay. So then down here, I'm going to put 24 plus 14, right? Those are his two numbers of shells. 24 plus 14 equals, now we have to add these together. What do we add first, the tens or the ones? The ones, good. So 4 plus 4 equals 8, very good. So we'll put an 8 right here in the ones place. And then we'll add our tens together. 2 plus 1 equals 3, very good. All right, so how many shells did Dan find? 38. He found 38 shells. Good, okay. Can we answer who found more shells? Not yet, because we need to find out how many Jane found, right? Okay, so now we need to solve to figure out how many Jane found. All right, so we did our first step. We figured out how many shells Dan has in all. Now we need to figure out how many Jane has in all. So how are we going to do that? Same thing, right? We're going to do addition again. So Jane found 15. So let's start with 15 up here. And then she found 30. All right, so 15 plus 30. 15 plus 30. All right, what do we add first? Ones or tens? Ones. Good. 5 plus 0. Oh my goodness, what could that be? 5. You know that. You know that. All right. And then what about 1 plus 3? 4. Very good. All right, so then we look at our two numbers. So we see that Dan found 38 total and Jane found 45 total. So now let's put 38 here and 45 here. All right, do you remember when we did less than, greater than, and equal to signs? So we need to figure out which, if 38 is less than, equal to, or greater than 45. Remember, the mouth of the alligator opens up towards the bigger number. So which way should the mouth be open? Towards which one? The 45, right? Because 45 is greater than 38, so 38 is less than 45. Okay, so then who found more shells? Was it Dan or Jane? Jane, good. So Jane, oh, might not be able to see that. Let me put it a little bit higher. So Jane found more shells. So we were able to answer the question, who found more shells? But it took us a few steps to get there. We couldn't just do one addition problem really quickly and get it. We had to take a couple steps. We had to add together Dan's shells and then add together Jane's shells and then look at the two sums and figure out which one was more. And then so which one had gathered more. So boys and girls, you're going to look at a problem as well. And in that problem, it's going to talk to you about a boy named Mark, and he's going to do some push-ups and some sit-ups, and if you want, you can do the number of push-ups and sit-ups that he does too, just to, grow your muscles a little bit. But you're going to fill out the paper. Each number has a different step for you to solve, and then at the very bottom, that's where you'll solve and write the correct answer to the question. All right? So it is going to be a really good assignment. I think you guys are going to do a great job at this because this has things you've already learned about. Addition, greater than or less than. So I think you guys will do a really good job. All right, boys and girls, go ahead, get started on your worksheet and keep up the awesome work.